Hello Internet, and welcome to a new tutorial. Today's new Modular and Psytrance tutorial is a little bit special because I'll be talking a lot and there will be not a lot of sounds, because in today's tutorial I want to give you a starting point in VCVRack, which means I'm going to give you a list of what I consider the must-have modules to start making sounds with VCVRack, because the world of VCVRack is just huge and there's a lot of amazing and free modules to use, and this could be a little bit difficult. This could make things a little bit difficult and might actually make you hate VCV, and this is too bad because it's just amazing. I really love it, and the stuff that it can do are just awesome. So yeah, with that said, this tutorial is going to focus on how I use VCVRack, which means I use it as an extension of Ableton Live, or like as a synthesizer, as a VST synthesizer inside of Ableton Live. And it's not really intended to be used like so, but we can use it like so. So there will be a lot of stuff that I won't take into consideration, like clocks and sequencers, because, Ableton Live will do all of that work for me. So, I won't be talking about these modules, and I will consider more about modules with which we're going to make sounds, if that makes sense. So, yeah, with that said, let's dive into our tutorial. Just so you know, I'm using Ableton Live again as my sequencer, and in this case as like my MIDI controller. It's sending MIDI via the VCV bridge plugin to VCVRack, and it's going to receive audio from VCVRack via the VCV plugin, the VCV bridge plugin. If you want to know how to use it, I've already made a tutorial about that. You can find the link right in here. So yeah, now let's start with our list. So obviously there will be the VCV plugins, which are awesome, and I've already made a couple of tutorials using them. You can find the link again right in here. So I won't be talking about them, and I'll start with Befaco. So Befaco has 3 modules that I think should be a must-have, and you can do awesome stuff with them. The first one is the Even VCO. It's just a really, really cool sounding VCO, and what I love about it is that it has the hard sync input in here, which means we can, for example, duplicate it and hard sync 2 oscillators together, like 2 even VCOs or whatever other VCO together, and we can make some really rich FM tones with them, because they will be hard synced, so the phase and the pitch are synced. And this is awesome. Next, there's the Rampage module. Now, the Rampage module, you should think of it as dual envelope generator / LFO, because these, you have the rise and fall parameters in here that can be set, either to envelope mode or cycling mode, which means that, there will be an LFO and you can modulate them, so you can create all of these weird LFO shapes. Just to give you an example, if I'll route it to the oscilloscope and I'll trigger it, you can see, wait a second, just like so, trigger it. I'll set it to cycling, trigger it again, and check this out. We can change the shape, like so. We can change these rise and fall parameters. It can send, for example, a gate or like a pulse every time the rise will start. Look at this. See, the blue ones are the gate that it's sending every time it's on the rise stage. It can do the same thing for the fall. It can send a pulse every time it finishes its cycle. Anyways, all what I'm trying to say is that it can do a lot of amazing stuff, and it's all packed into this small little modules. And yeah, that's what makes it to this list. Now, another module that I really love from Befaco is the A multiplied by B plus C. It's basically a ring modulator / attenuator. I use it more as a ring modulator, so it can really do some amazing stuff. So if I'll take Just to give you a little example, if I'll take like, let's say 2 even VCOs, let's send them inside, let's say triangle with some saw, and let's take square from here, and the output will go to the filter like so. Okay, we don't have any voice, but let's do like this. We can get some really rich timbres out of it, and that's why it made it to the list. Now I've made something really quick, which is not, nothing that complicated, but just to give you an example of the rich tones that we can get out of it. So yeah, these are the modules from Befaco that I really think should be on the list of the must-have modules to start using VCVRack with them. Now let's move on. There's Bogaudio. Now Bogaudio has literally everything you need, from utilities to LFOs to VCOs to mixers, everything. Now to give you some examples of what they have, there's, for example, they're really simple standard VCO. It's just like the Befaco VCO. It's really nice sounding, and what's really cool about it is that it can go to the slow territory. Basically, it can become an LFO, and this is really nice. There's the Addiator, which is basically an additive oscillator, and what I love about it is that you cannot screw it up with it. It's like almost every time you're guaranteed to have some really nice organic sounds out of it. Just to give you a really simple example. I'll make it track pitch. All of these rich tones, and I'm just playing with it really fast just to give you an example. It's really an amazing oscillator, and I love playing with it. Now they have another they have an FM operator in here. Hey, we make Psytrance, so yeah, FM operators are that important to us, so it's really cool to have really simple one right there just waiting for us to work with it. Now they have an LFO, which is really interesting. They have 2 of them actually, the 4FO and the 8FO. Now, what I love about this module is that it's an LFO that has 8 outputs. They're identical, but the phase is not identical. So what I mean by that, check this out. So this is the blue one will be the original one, the first one, and check how the phase is shifted with every output. And this is really awesome because and we can, by the way, control the phase if we would like of each of the outputs or not. But this is something really awesome because imagine the modulations that you can do with such an LFO that has 8 identical yet phase shifted outputs. So this is another +1 for Bogaudio. They have a VCF in here, and it's one of the most versatile VCFs that you have at least in this list. State variable, low pass, high pass, band pass, and band reject or notch. It can go from 1 decibel per octave to 12, and this is awesome. You can do the classic stuff, FM and CV inputs and all of the good stuff. Moving on, they have some really cool modules like the Peak 6. I hope I'm pronouncing it well. It's what it is. It's basically an equalizer with 6 bands. Now, you might ask me, yeah, but Ollie, why would I need an equalizer in here? Well, because with this equalizer, we can do all of these crazy formanty, let's say, timbres with it. So I'll take the saw output of the VCO that we have in here, set it to the input, and check this out. We'll have individuals output of each of these bands. So basically, if I'll just take an analyzer, and by the way, Bogaudio has an analyzer, just like Span. Check this out. We have the band and we can play with it actually. Just like so. So it's basically a bunch of bandpass filters mixed together. So if I'll take the mixer from Bogaudio to I'll route, let's say, these bands like so. I'll take the output to and what's even, let's say, cooler about it is that we can modulate the frequency of these bands. So if I'll take the 8FO, for example, we can modulate with, phase shifted values, all the frequencies of these bands. So we'll get something really interesting. This is pretty nice. Like, it's just some sort of a some sort of a formant filter that we can add phasers to it and stuff and get even more interesting timbres. But you got the idea. This is just, I really love the modules that we have with Bogaudio. They're just so versatile. For sure, there's several envelope generators. There's malts, attenuators, mutes, tuners. They almost have everything you need to make sounds with VCVRack, from voice generators to voice shapers to utilities. So yeah, Bogaudio is on the top of that list. So now let's move on. I want to talk to you about very special modules, which are the Vult modules. Now, what I love about Vult is the amazing filters they have. So I'm going to start with, and I'll have problems, I think I'll have problems pronouncing the names, Lateralis, which is basically a diode ladder filter. And who says diode ladder filters basically says some sort of a Moog emulation of their famous ladder filter. So what I love about it, as you can see, you have 4 different outputs. Here's the input, and their module sounds just awesome. Nasty little filter in here. Then there's the rescomb. What rescomb basically is a comb filter and sounds pretty dope. To give you a really fast example. Pretty nasty one. Again, another module from Vult that I really love is Stable, or Stable, I think it's pronounced like that. Anyways, state variable filter, if I'm not mistaken, 12 decibel per octave. Pretty versatile and really good sounding. And another one I really love is Tangents, which is a Parker-Steiner filter, or Steiner-Parker filter. This filter is so sweet. you have to listen to it. So let's take the bandpass. Wait, and it can self-resonate too. Let's take the low pass. So sweet. And they have another one, is the unstable, which is basically a bent state variable filter. Also sounds really, really, really good. Especially when you crank the drive. Yeah, anyways, these are the Vult modules. All of these modules, you just have to spend some time with them, playing with them, getting to understand their character, because all of them are special and they all sound so good. I just can't, make a full tutorial listening to all of these modules. So yeah, just go there, play with them. They're just awesome. Up next, I have to make a little stop in here. Befaco, Bogaudio, and Vult are the three, let's say, first developers or modules I suggest that you install and start playing with them. And then when you start, getting around VCV and start understanding how it's working, now I would consider taking another step forward and with these modules that I want to talk to you about right now. So the first one are the Allride devices. Now they have 3 modules. The 3 are awesome. T-Rex is a bit crushing modules, can be extensively modulated, so it can do some really nasty timbres. The next one is Zorb. If you've seen my last live with VCVRack, I've used Zorb a lot, and it's a really good sounding state variable filter. We have a 4-pole low pass output, 2-pole low pass output, notch, 2 poles, band pass 2 poles, and a high pass 2 poles. It sounds really, really awesome. Nasty. That's what it's all about. Sounds really good. Then we have the Chronoblob 2, which is basically, it's a delay. It has several delay algorithms like simple delay, ping pong delay, cascade delay, and it sounds pretty damn awesome. So next we have Erica Synth. Now you might know Erica Synth, and actually there's 4 of their modules for VCV. Now the first one is the Black Wavetable VCO. It's a wavetable VCO. It has 16 wavetables that you can change in here with the bank button. Each wavetable is made out of 16 waves, if I'm not mistaken. And that's a pretty cool VCO. I've already made a video about it. I think it was last year, and it's awesome to make textures. It's just really good. So highly recommended. Then they have also the Black Octasource. Now, what is Black Octasource? It's an LFO that has 8 shapes. We can either output the same shape but shift it in phase, just like the 8FO, or we can output the 8 shapes together at the same time. So here we have the same shape outputted, just like, phase shifted, just like with 8FO, or we can set it to output exactly the 8 different shapes together at the same time. I'll leave just what it can do to your imagination, because there's a lot of goodness that comes out of it. Amazing source of modulation. Up next, we have Instro. Instro makes amazing modules. I've already reviewed the Seashell or CSL oscillator from them. Amazing oscillator. It might be a little bit too complicated, but once you understand how it works, this stuff that can come out of it are just awesome. So yeah, highly recommend it. And the last module I want to talk about, developer, are Valley, and they have some pretty amazing and complex modules, but I want to talk about Plato, their reverb, because it's a plate reverb, but it has a soul, and the soul is just amazing. You have to listen to it. So here, just this reverb is just amazing, and I can't recommend it enough. So with this is the end of this list. I really hope you find this useful. For sure I'm going to make more tutorials about VCVRack to show you all of these modules in action, because this was a really fast tutorial and I've just, showed you really fast what they can do. So yeah, I hope you found this useful, and as the usual, if you want to help me and you want to support me make more psychedelic tutorials, more psychedelic music, you can always support this channel by, the classic like, subscribe, comment, or you can, buy my stuff on Gumroad, or you can become one of my patrons, as you like. But yeah, this is the end of this tutorial. Hope you've liked it. Have a great one.